Ah, the gravel bike. Few things are as awesome and confounding and mysterious and angering to some people as this new genre of bicycle. In this video, I'm going to answer comments such as, you don't need a gravel bike, just use your road bike. You don't need a gravel bike, just get a mountain bike. Aren't gravel bikes and cyclocross bikes the same thing? What tire pressure should I run on my gravel bike? Gravel bikes are dumb, and much, much more. So stick around for my thoughts and feelings on this whole gravel bike thing. Welcome back, Pathless Peddlers, and if you're new to the channel, if you're into things like gravel bikes, bike touring, bike fishing, and basically that big wide space between road racing and enduro bro mountain biker, you found your people. Consider subscribing. So if you've watched our YouTube channel with any regularity, then you know I'm a huge fan of this gravel bike slash adventure bike trend. But reading through the comments, some people are still dumbfounded or just think gravel bikes are dumb. So I hope to kind of clarify maybe some misconceptions or where I think gravel bikes fit into your bike stable. So one unfortunate thing about gravel bikes is the term gravel. Yes, it was initially designed to ride races like Dirty Kansas or Land Run, or to take specifically on gravel roads, but it is also so much more than that. So for just a second, I know, just bear with me, let's strip away that word gravel or even the word adventure and look at a gravel bike at its core. It's a drop bar bike similar to a road bike, but not a pure road racing bike. The angles are a little bit slacker, so the handling is more confidence inspiring, especially on descents and roads that aren't perfect. And they take big tires now, and I mean big, truly big tires. So that's another way it's different from a road bike, where a big tire in road bike world is 28 millimeters. And even cyclocross bikes, because of racing rules, the biggest tire you're legally allowed to use is about 33.3 millimeters, I think, or 35, something in there, but not like the big supple 40, 45 millimeter and 50 millimeter tires we are getting today. And typically before this whole gravel bike, I hate saying the word, trend, you would get kind of a commuter bike. And those bikes were not fun to ride. Yes, they were stable, but they were kind of dull and boring. But this new crop of bikes is not. So you get some liveliness from the road world. You get clearance from the cyclocross, but even more tire clearance than cyclocross race bikes are allowed to have. But you also get the utility of a touring bike or a commuting bike. Lots of these new adventure bikes that are coming out actually have mounts for racks and fenders, something you would never see on a road bike or even a cyclocross bike. So what I'm getting at here is, if you strip the word gravel and adventure away, you get a super functional road bike, basically a road bike for all of us. A road bike that isn't dictated by the pro peloton, by cyclocross racers, but basically a road bike that we can all enjoy because it's more comfortable. You can use wider tires, you can put racks and fenders if you want to, and it's still fun to ride. It doesn't ride like a yacht or a wet log or something, you know what I mean? But I think because of the name, because of the term gravel or adventure, people see it as a niche bike, but it's not. It's a kind of road style bike that I've been waiting for, that I think will fit most people that like to go on long rides or short rides, but have no intention of racing. I don't know if I made that clear. It's a gravel bike, for lack of better terms, is different from a road bike because the handling is more predictable and you have clearances for wider tires. It's different from a cross bike because the handling is more predictable, it's less twitchy, and you have clearance for wider tires, and it's all day comfortable. A cross bike, remember, is designed for cross races, so that means riding really hard and fast for about an hour, navigating some technical features. So the geometry is designed to do those things, but not with long-term comfort necessarily in mind. Another comment I saw recently on our YouTube is, why don't you just get a rigid mountain bike? Well, here in the West, in Missoula, and even in Oregon where we live, to get to gravel roads, there's often lots of long stretches of pavement riding. There's a good mix. It's maybe about 50% pavement, 50% gravel. And it would be a slog to take a mountain bike on the paved sections. Also, there's this term called underbiking, which I know some of you people that are totally into the supple life know what I mean. What it means is taking a slightly inappropriate bike for a ride. So for example, a gravel bike on single track. Yes, a mountain bike is definitely probably the better tool for the job. Doing it on a gravel bike makes it a little bit more fun because it's slightly inappropriate It's a little bit more challenging to navigate. There's also just this kind of vague funness factor about these adventure bikes. I saw another comment about some confusion about what tire pressures you should run. Okay, this is a legitimate question, but just to give you a sense, when I'm riding a 45 millimeter tire, I usually set the pressure at about 40 psi and work down from there depending on the terrain. On my Warbird, I have it set up tubeless, and when I know that we're going to do some single track, I'll even run it as low as 25 psi because I'm not worried about pinch flats. So as you can see, the range of tire pressures is completely different. It's dynamic. Oftentimes when I go out on a ride in the pavement section, I'll run the pressure high. And when we get to the dirt section, I'll let out about 10 or 15 psi to make it that much more supple. So there's another concept in gravel riding. I don't know if it was just unique to Oregon, and it's called gravel tax. So as you know, when you ride on rougher terrain, roads with big rocks or even some kind of technical features, you're gonna be moving a lot slower than if you were on a perfectly smooth piece of tarmac. And this time difference or difficulty difference we call the gravel tax. So for example, if it's pretty smooth, hard packed dirt, then we'd say the gravel tax is maybe 5 to 10%. But let's say it's really rocky and rutted and there's lots of steep climbing because it's a fire road or an old logging road, then we'd say there's a 15 to 25% gravel tax. And speaking of those gravel roads that are almost like smooth tarmac, there's another term that I've heard batted around called hero gravel. I think it borrows the nomenclature from the mountain bike world with like hero dirt. So hero gravel is where it's hard packed, it's smooth, maybe it's slightly tacky, but it almost rolls just like pavement. So I hope I was able to clear up some maybe misconceptions and confusion about this whole gravel / adventure bike thing. Yes, you can ride it on gravel, and yes, you can take it on adventures, but it also makes a great all-around road bike for everybody else. We live in an amazing time. I think up until this new emergent gravel / adventure biking trend, the bike industry as a whole, thought of bikes in these kind of distinct silos, and the gravel bike is kind of meshing all these things together. So for that, I'm super stoked. We are finally getting a bike that's being dictated by the people and not the pro Peloton. It's like we tricked the bike industry into making something that we actually wanted. So that's it for this video. Let me know your thoughts and comments. Do you like gravel bikes? Do you think they're dumb still, even after all my explanations? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, like, share, subscribe, because we've got a bunch more gravel bikes that are gonna be reviewed on the channel, and you're definitely gonna wanna be notified when those videos drop, because that's what videos do. So until next time, keep the supple side down.